Today we're going to talk about standard scores and more specifically how to solve or to compute the standard scores given the mean and the standard deviation. I'm going to attach or link a video that explains why the need to standardize. Alright, the goal for this video is just to compute and somehow interpret standard scores. Alright, so let's go directly to the definitions. So first definition is for the standard score. The standard score, or Z-score, measures how many standard deviations a given value x is above or below the mean. Now, Z-scores are useful in comparing observed values. A positive Z-score indicates that the score or observed value is above the mean. A negative Z-score indicates that the score is below the mean. So, for example, if this is our normal curve, okay, if the Z-score is here, it's positive, right? Because this is 0, and the Z-score here is negative since it's in the left of 0. All right. Now this is the formula for Z-score. So Z is the standard score, X is the observed value, mu is the mean, and sigma is the standard deviation. Let's remember this formula going forward because we're going to use it. Alright. So example. On a final examination in biology, the mean score was 75 and the standard deviation was 12. Determine the standard score of a student who received a score of 60, assuming that the scores are normally distributed. Alright, so first thing, we're going to write the given values. Okay, that's the first step in solving these kinds of questions. So you write the given values. So given the mean, mu equals 75. Alright. The standard deviation, sigma, is 12. And the x value, the observed value, the score of the student is 60. Okay. And here we're looking for the Z-score. Okay, the standard score, the Z-score. Now, let's go back to the previous slide. The formula for the Z-score is x minus mu over sigma. And luckily for us, all of those parameters on the right hand side are given. So we can easily solve for Z. Z is x minus mu over sigma. 60 minus 75 over 12. And this is equal to negative 15 over 12, which is equal to negative 1.25. So Z is equal to negative 1.25, right? So Z is equal to negative 1.25. That's it. That's how to solve for Z. Oh, so here Z is negative 1.25. This indicates that 60 is 1.25 standard deviations below the mean. Below because negative. Okay. And example number 2. Luz scored 90 in an English test and 70 in the physics test. Scores in the English test have a mean of 80 and a standard deviation of 10. Scores in the physics test have a mean of 60 and a standard deviation of 8. In which subject was her standing better, assuming that the scores in her English and physics tests are normally distributed? Okay, the key word here is standing. Okay, standing, ranking. Okay. Now, let's write the given. So for English, Luz scored 90. That's x. That's the observed value. The mean is 80. And the standard deviation is 10. Okay. Z for English is unknown. let's go to physics. In physics, Luz scored 70, so X is 70. Mu is, okay, the mean is 60, and the standard deviation is 8. Okay, so we have to solve for Z for physics. Z for physics. Okay. So to solve for Z for English, we have X minus mu over sigma, which is 10 over 10, 1. So Z for English is 1. Okay. For physics, Z is equal to X minus mu over sigma, which is equal to 10 over 8, which is equal to 1.25. Okay, so Z for physics is 1.25. Alright, the question was, in which subject was her standing better, assuming that the scores in her English and physics tests are normally distributed. So when we say standing, that means ranking. Okay, so let's solve for, determine the ranking of Luz in English. All right, now how to do that? Let's draw. So this is for English. Okay, for English, let's draw the normal curve. Okay, let's draw the normal curve. Alright, so the Z for English is 1. So let's assume Z is 1. Z is 0. Okay. This is the standing of Luz, meaning Luz is right here. And those students who scored less than Luz in English are here in this area, to the left of Z equals 1. Okay, so meaning to say that this area represents the number or the percentage of students who scored less than that of Luz. Okay, but we know how to solve for this area. Okay, we know how to solve for this area. This area here is 0.5. 0.5, that's the area to the left of 0. And the area between Z equals 0 and Z equals 1. So we need to solve for the area from 0 to 1. Z equals 0 to Z equals 1. And we know how to do that. Okay, let's go to our table. So from 0 to 1, so that's 1.0. 1 is equal to 1.0 plus 0.0, right? So that's 1 and 0.0, so 1.0, 0.0, and that's here. So this is the area between 0 and 1, 3.3413. Okay, let's go back. So this area here is actually 0.3413. In total, the area is 0.8413, or 84.13%. So this is Luz's standing or ranking in English, meaning that Luz scored better than 84% of the students in English. Okay, that's her standing. Now, let's solve for her standing in physics. Okay, I'm going to erase this one. So let's solve for her standing in physics. Okay, Okay, so her standing in physics. Again, let's draw the curve. All right. Her standing in physics is at z equals 1 point. The z score in physics is 1.25. Okay, so that's here 1.25. Here is z equals 0. Okay, again, same process. This area here represents the percentage of students who scored less than that of lose in physics test. Okay, so let's solve for this area to the left of z equals 1.25. So to solve that, we know that this area to the left is 0.5, so that's 0.5, and this area here, this is the area from 0 to 1.25. Okay, so let's solve for the area from 0 to 1.25. Let's go back to our table. So 1.25 equals 1.2 plus 0.05. Okay, let's find 1.2. 1.2 is here. 0.05 is here. Draw a line. Draw a line. So we are at 0.3944. So the area is 0.3944. In total, that's 0.8944 or 89.44%. This means that in physics, in the physics test, Luz scored better than 89.44% of the students. Therefore, which is the better standing, physics or English? Well, obviously, that's physics. Okay, so Luz has a better standing in the physics test than in the English test. Okay, so that's how to solve these kinds of questions. All right, so as you can see, for English, z equals 1. For physics, z equals 1.25. So therefore, her standing in physics was better than her standing in English. Okay, let's continue the discussion in the next video. Bye.